Welcome to Lessons from the Bible. In this series, we take timeless truths from the Bible and explore how they still speak to our world right now. For our very first episode, we're re-looking at one of the most famous teachings of Jesus, the parable of the Good Samaritan, found in Luke chapter 10. The story begins when a lawyer asks Jesus, "Teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life?" Jesus responds by asking what the law says. The man answers, "Love God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself." Jesus agrees, but then the man pushes further with a very human question. "And who is my neighbor?" That's when Jesus tells a story. A man was traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho, a notoriously dangerous road. Along the way, he was attacked by robbers, beaten, and left for dead. A priest passed by and saw him, but crossed the road and walked away. Then a Levite, another religious figure, did the same. Finally, a Samaritan came along. Now, in Jesus' time, Jews and Samaritans had a long history of hostility. They despised one another. But the Samaritan saw the man, had compassion, and stopped to help. He bandaged his wounds, put him on his donkey, took him to an inn, and paid for his care. At the end, Jesus asks, who was a neighbor to the man who fell among robbers? The lawyer replies, the one who showed mercy, and Jesus says, go and do likewise. That's the story. But what does it mean for us today? First, it shows us that love is action, not just feeling. The priest and Levite might have felt pity, but they didn't act. The Samaritan acted, even at cost to himself. Today, that challenges us to see love as something we do through kindness, generosity, and compassion. Second, it teaches that our neighbor is not limited to people like us. In fact, the whole shock of the story is that the hero was the Samaritan, someone the audience least expected. For us today, this might mean loving across boundaries of race, politics, religion, or background. The lesson is clear. Compassion doesn't ask, who deserves my help? It asks, who needs my help? Third, it reminds us that love often requires sacrifice. The Samaritan gave his time, energy, and money. Loving our neighbor is rarely convenient, but it's always worth it. And when we do, we reflect the heart of God, who loves us even when we didn't deserve it. In today's world, the lesson of the Good Samaritan is more urgent than ever. We live in a time of division, hostility, and suspicion. But Jesus' story cuts through all that noise and calls us to a radical way of life, to see every person as our neighbor and to love with compassion in action. So, here's today's takeaway. Loving your neighbor means crossing boundaries, taking risks, and acting with mercy even when it costs you something. That's the lesson from the Good Samaritan. Thanks for joining me for this first episode of Lessons for Today. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who might need encouragement. And join us next time as we explore more timeless lessons from the Bible that still matter today.